Hi everyone, today let's talk about bank earnings. Then we'll get into the charts, and then we'll take a look at my results for the day and my positions going into Tuesday. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So looking at earnings, they were basically good, better than expected across the board. Bank of America did very well, JP Morgan did well. They did come out and say they see the economy slowing dramatically, but they were able to buffer their earnings mostly with the higher interest rates, which was generally good. So looking closer here, you can see Bank of America was expected to earn 77 cents. They earned 85 cents. Revenue also topped expectations, so very good for Bank of America. And they rallied here a little bit, 2.2%. JP Morgan Chase also did very well. For next week, for earnings, we got Morgan Stanley as well as Goldman Sachs on Tuesday. A couple other financial companies as well as United Airlines. Not a ton on Tuesday besides those two big banks. Nothing really on Wednesday. And then we get into Thursday here. Not a ton this day either. We do have Procter & Gamble. You do have Netflix this day as well. Always a volatile one. It's been very volatile on recent earnings. And then you have Kimberly-Clark as well. Not a ton yet, but it is starting to ramp up. Moving over to the charts here on the hour and the 4 hour, basically we're starting to see the end of this rally. So you have the hourly chart here on the left. I do want to highlight, you can see we got up to that previous high at the end of day. You look at RSI sitting at 67.50 and then RSI at close sitting at 63.05. So we have same price action, lower RSI reading, getting clear divergence here on the hourly chart. It's going to be a theme throughout the charts, but basically this rally is losing steam, and you have to expect that this resistance is going to hold at least in the short term. I do expect a down day on Tuesday. I don't know necessarily that that's going to be the complete end of the rally. We probably will get one big spike that'll take out a bunch of stops, and then we'll see the market crumble to the downside. That is my thesis right now. I think we're going to get a down move Tuesday, probably a big spike on Wednesday or Thursday. And then we should see the continuation of this down move into the end of the week. Looking at the daily, much to note here, did get pretty close to filling that gap, just short. Couldn't quite get there. Like I said, I think we'll get a down day. If we do get a down day Tuesday, probably like an inside day type move, get that bigger spike, come up to that 400, 401 level, take out all the stops that people are talking about, maybe top these highs here from 15 November. That should be enough to create the demand need to see if the markets are going to move back to the downside and this rally is complete. I also want to highlight here on the 4 hour that you do have some divergence on the RSI as well. You can see the highs here, RSI hitting 68, 69. Yesterday, we have higher prices here today, and we're currently sitting at 66. So getting that clear divergence on the hour and 4 hour. We don't see that quite yet on the daily chart. I don't know necessarily if we will. We did get divergence on the previous top. You can see it here going from 2 December to 13 December. And this process may take longer than a couple days. Maybe we do get divergence on the daily, but it is already materializing on the hour and 4 hour. Moving over to the QQQ, again, same thesis on RSI. You can see 66.5 here on the hourly, on the 12 o'clock candle. The high of day here was at 64.50, so slightly lower RSI, but higher prices here once again. Rally continuing to move higher, RSI saying that this is weak and we're just about done here. Again, that doesn't mean we're done right away. This could certainly go up, test resistance at 283.50, maybe even all the way up to 285. Couple of points upside potential, but really this rally is starting to get weaker and you have to expect it's going to reverse within the next few days. Similarly, on the 4 hour, we got overbought conditions on the 11 o'clock candle on the 12th, and then on the 11 o'clock candle here today, we did get a lower RSI reading, but higher price action. Again, it's starting to fail. You can see it in the relative strength. Momentum on the 4 hour continuing to decrease here as well, despite higher prices. And looking at the hourly here, you're chopping back and forth despite the higher prices. Moving over to IWM, same thesis, divergence forming, multiple lower lows here at this point. 4 hour gave us a divergence here today, higher prices, lower RSI. Look at where these EMAs here are on the MACD, extremely extended. We haven't been this high for a while. basically right at the high that we had here in November. We did get a significant sell-off from there, so pretty overbought conditions, and we're starting to get those indicators that we're going to see some lower prices. Moving over to Tesla and Apple, you can see Tesla has not been participating. It's been going sideways for many days here, all the way since Monday the 9th. Continues to stay in this range from about 115 up to about 125, and no change here. Another inside day. Did kind of test the 144 on the hourly. As opposed to Apple here, you can see we did make some slightly higher highs once again. However, you do see divergence on the hourly. 7 o'clock candle gave us that highest RSI reading. Got a lower RSI on the 12 o'clock on the 12th. And then compared to today, where we did get higher prices from that previous high, we're currently sitting at 64 on RSI. So higher prices and lower RSI. I do want to show the 4-hour on Apple as well. You can see the same divergence forming. We have the 3 o'clock candle showing a 65.27. And then the high here today showing a 63.73. So lower RSI, higher prices, same divergence as all the major indices, definitely starting to weaken. Again, probably will come up and test the 144 EMA on the 4-hour, currently sitting at 137.60. So about $3 of upward price action, probably going to give that a nice tap, take out all the stops, and then we're going to get that kind of rejection, which should give us some lower lows basically across the major indices. Moving over to IYT on the hour and the daily chart, you can see IYT not confirming the higher highs. So we made lower prices here today. Same divergence is forming. We have daily RSI ticking down here today, as you would expect. Come Tuesday, I would expect the momentum on the daily chart to go down as well. Basically flat from Thursday to Friday here on momentum, meaning that this is probably done here as well. Again, maybe we get one more day, take out all the highs here on the daily chart, but really momentum and RSI are showing this, that we're done here. I guess we'll talk about gold since everybody's talking about gold. Basically rallying like crazy, super extended, big overbought conditions here on the daily chart. Who knows where this is going to go? You can see how high the MACD EMAs are. It's been a very long time since we were here. You can see how extended we were the last time we were in this range. Basically in this 2.7, 2.8 range, going all the way back to March of 22, when we got all the way up to about 192. And then from there, we really pushed down dramatically. So be careful here. Of course, it looks very good right now, still very strong, but we are overbought, getting pretty extended. You do have to be cautious here if you're in gold. And I am certainly not in gold at this point. Let's move over to consumer discretionary here for a moment. We have the hour and the 4-hour here. Looking at the hour first, you can see that same divergence. We're getting higher prices and lower RSI compared to what we saw yesterday and the previous day. So that's good. If you are bearish, you do want to see this same kind of divergence, which we are getting here. But it is worth noting on the 4-hour, we did get a higher reading on RSI. It is very overbought, definitely above that 70 level. But it is the highest RSI reading that we've seen here. It is also worth noting that the 4-hour momentum is taking very consistent steps to the downside, and this is pretty bearish. You would certainly expect momentum on the hourly to tick up here, and if we get the hour and the 4-hour moving in the same direction, that should be a pretty good indicator that this rally is complete, and that momentum is starting to move to the downside. Moving over here to the dollar on the 4 and the 8-hour. I do want to show on the 8-hour here that we did get into overbought conditions. This is the highest time frame that we're on overbought conditions. Not overbought yet on the 12 or the daily charts, but it is worth noting the 8-hour is overbought. And you can see here on the 4-hour, we're pretty stable at the 102.15 level. That's continued to hold throughout the day. It's been tested multiple times. And then RSI actually ticking back above that 30 level, which is pretty interesting. We have the same prices, RSI moving slightly higher here. And I know we've talked about this multiple times, but we're very extended on this down move. We are at support. We've tested it a few times here. It continues to hold. And you would expect this to move at least a little bit higher, which would correlate with a down move in equities. It's probably going to hold here for like a day or two. Maybe we start seeing some peaks, some higher RSI readings, creating that sideways chop, and then we get the breakout above the chop, creating that breakout to higher prices and the down move in equities. Moving over to JNK, not confirming a down move quite yet. I thought that we might. We did move down quite a bit. We actually gapped down and then rallied throughout the session, similar to the major indices here. But we did just eke out a slightly higher high here on the 8-hour, but you do see some slight divergence The high of day yesterday had an RSI of 73.40, and then the high of day today had a 73.64 read on RSI. That candle's not quite closed, so we got another 2 hours here, but it's probably not going to move very much. Jumping over to the daily chart and the 1 hour, you can see that divergence forming a little bit clearer, definitely moving down on RSI, back just under overbought conditions. Daily chart is continuing to move higher, so that's not confirming divergence yet. But you can see the move on the MACD on momentum was pretty minor from day to day. We went from 36 to 37 as opposed to 30 to 36 on the 11th to the 12th. If momentum does fade on Tuesday, we start to get that step down. That's a pretty good indicator that we might be moving lower, similar to what we saw here. So you get a big step down, and you get that continuation, giving you lower prices here. That should be a pretty good lead indicator that equities are going to be moving lower as well. Moving over to TLT. TLT did not confirm new highs here today, so it gapped down, basically went sideways throughout the session. Strength was much lower. You can see RSI moving down, but the stock price is moving down as well. So you could argue that this is going to move higher potentially on Tuesday, and then you'd be looking for that divergence. If you do make a higher high on TLT, how does that RSI read compare to the Thursday read? But right here, you have an inside day. You can see right in the middle of that day, we are stuck on the 144 on the daily chart. And I would expect this to move down, probably test the 9, maybe the 21 EMAs. And then you get a kind of continuation, a higher low, one more higher low, giving you a nice springboard to push through that 144 back into bullish on the daily chart. Finishing up here with the VIX, you can see we have been oversold for quite a while. On the 4 hour, we've been getting lower RSI reads. We did get oversold here on the 12 hour. Last time we were oversold on the 12 hour, we got a pretty significant jump. That would be back on 2 December, where we moved significantly higher over the next couple of days. So keep that in mind. This is definitely oversold. You would expect a slight move higher here on the VIX. And this is a pretty good region to do it. If we jump over here to the daily chart, you can see we're lower than all of these previous lows. And the last time we were in this vicinity was going back to about 12 January of 22. And that's where we had a significant push higher throughout January of 22. Maybe we get a repeat here in January of 23. Moving over to my positions, not a great day for me, down $400. I did get sucked in a little bit on the original down move. I thought we might be moving down a little sooner before we got a bigger continuation to the upside. And it didn't quite work out that way. We reversed on the day, ended up green. So I got sucked in on that and didn't make any money despite some pretty bullish positions going into the day. And you can see here I have a lot of calls right now on the books. So I have a covered call here in my IRA, which actually was profitable, plus $79 on the day. You can see that position here, 278 call for $2.79. So I expect that to be taken on Tuesday. I'll probably let that one go if we get executed. Similarly, on the 200 shares I have here on my individual account, the lowest call I have here is these 278s for Wednesday. We'll see how that plays out. These are currently the ones that I'm pairing. You can see here I do have some 280 calls for Tuesday. Like I said, I do expect some short-term volatility to the downside. I'll take these 280 calls off first because these 278 calls will give me the most protection. And then I do have a 281 call out here for Wednesday, which is just a naked call. So overall, 3 naked calls, 2 projecting that down move on Tuesday. My one for Wednesday is looking for some short shares. And then these 2 covered calls for Wednesday, trying to get out of the 200 shares that I have here as well. See how this all plays out. Like I said, everything seems to be moving to the downside. I do want to highlight the Tasty charts here just for a moment. On the daily chart, you can see we are coming up to that resistance point. This would be the stop resistance on the daily chart, indicating that we should be getting a reversal pretty much at this price, maybe slightly higher. Maybe we test that level and then come back through it. Either way here, this is demonstrating that we're pretty overbought and we're getting into that second upper ATR band, which generally on the daily chart indicates that we're just about done. You can see on the down move that level was holding for all of the days before we got that move higher. And even if we do come into that level, you would expect at least a retest of the 9 EMA. So we come up, test it, come back, test the 9 EMA. Either way, we're going to get a little bit of a down move, and I will be looking to take some profits on these negative deltas that I have on these positions. Let me know in the comment section what you think of my analysis, and if there's any charts you would like me to cover, definitely put those down there as well. Of course, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. I make this video every day that the markets are open, as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.